Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with Bet Victor, where we're looking at a real blend of action then across 3 different courses. Of course, we're going to be heading to Chepstow for the Welsh Grand National Trial. We're also looking at Aintree with their Beecher Chase meeting, and we have 3 Grade 1s from Sandown. So loads to go at, and I'll be looking at these races in the usual company of a dynamic duo, that is Declan Ricks and Sam Boswell. Dec, very well done with Hansard last week.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, given I thought a very good ride by Niall Houlihan, not Sean Houlihan. I had tipped to Niall. I thought it was a good ride. He was very brave on him down the inner scraping paint. I think he might have even taken a pull 3 out, produced him after the last. So yeah, cheers to Niall. I don't know if he ever has a drink, but if I see him one day on the track, I'll buy him an ale beer.
I'd say from the Houlihan family, he definitely does.
Okay, good.
Yeah, knowing them. But yeah, he had a good time last week, didn't he? And now he's looking very fresh as well, Sam, considering Christmas party last night, but ever the professional early nights here in the morning. You've had your own Christmas parties.
It's been a busy week, yeah, plenty going on. HWPA Awards, which I'll save those tales for off air, as best said. But no, good week last week. Big well done to Bet Victor brand ambassadors Gavin Sheen and Jamie Snowden, teamed up to take the big race out. Ice cool ride from Gavin there, and hopefully we'll see him perhaps have some more success this week.
And didn't your nap go in? You not want to mention?
Get the trumpet out, Dec.
Okay.
Yeah, go on then. The nap went in as well. So yeah, good scenes all round last week. Fingers crossed for more.
Very much so. And your naps have been going along in great guns in recent weeks as well. So
a little bit skinny on the price, Kate, if I'm going to give myself some criticism.
If they win, they win.
We'll see what we can do this week.
Yeah, we certainly will do. But before we get into the action, though, a reminder, as ever, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction all the same. Right, on with the action. Now we begin at Chepstow with the aforementioned Welsh Grand National Trial handicap chase for the 4-year-olds and over 2 miles, 7.5 furlongs at 1:37. A race that has really lived up to its name in recent years, because 2 of the last 3 winners of this have gone on to win at the main event itself later in the month. So Dec, starting with you, who did you like?
Yeah, we're gonna continue the love affair with the Gary Moore team this week. I'm gonna go with Naslam. I just kind of think I get the feeling with this lad that 3 miles on really bad ground could be the key to him. He's a bit of a funny horse. He's never made life easy for his jockeys. He jumps left consistently and he races quite lazily. They have cheek pieces on him as well. But I do wonder kind of sometimes now, looking at his profile and looking at his pedigree, is has he been running over the wrong trip? Has it been a case if he hasn't been racing lazily, it's more of a case that he's been flat out the whole way? I think kind of going up to 3 miles on really soft ground at Chepstow could maybe just see him travel that little bit sweeter. I thought last time out he obviously ran at Aintree over there, the Grand National fences and the Grand Sefton. I thought he ran really well there. It was probably the sweetest I've seen him travel in a while. That was heavy ground. So I think if he steps forward for that, I think he could go well here. For Quayle and Quinn is going to take £3 off him. And it's interesting as well, they've swapped out the cheek pieces for blinkers. So if that sharpens him up even further here, I think he's got a cracking each way chance, especially, as consider last season he ran in some of those really competitive handicaps, Paddy Power Gold Cups, December Gold Cups. This looks a little bit easier for him. So yeah, I'm going to kick off the show this week with Nassalam, please.
The Gary Moore PJs back out yet again. I'm going to be wearing my own Gary Moore PJs. So I agree with you, Nassalam. Yeah, he does sort of have to prove himself over this trip still, doesn't he? Now, he's only faced the 3 mile plus twice previously in his career. He's 10th in the Ultimate and 7th in a Premier Handicap chase at the Aintree Festival. But I just think he's a bigger, stronger horse now. He is obviously still only a 6-year-old, so he's entitled to really strengthen up and to muscle up then as well. And Caelan Quinn, I thought he got a great tune out of him last time out. Takes the ride again here, and he really was doing all of his best work in the Sefton late on, looking like he wanted a further step up in trip. So yeah, we're both going to be siding with the horse that we're hoping we'll see out the trip in good style and should hopefully have more to offer with Nassalam. You're going to join us?
No, not at all. I was tentative on this race. Obviously, you go through the field, and plenty of them are obviously going to try and be aimed at the big event at the end of the month. And I suppose Pat's Fancy for me was one that stood out. I'd kind of want to see how that horse runs with a view to the Welsh Grand National for Rebecca Curtis. It's been off nearly a year, so I kind of went with something that I thought would be ready to go, and I've ended up probably towards what I think will be the favourite here, Major Dundee. reappeared at Warwick, and I think just ran out of gas a little bit. We were watching the clip here of him winning the Midlands National, and he was very impressive that day. I was a little bit surprised he didn't go on to try and contest the Scottish National next month after that, but obviously they put him away. He's had that reappearance at Warwick under his belt, and I think he'll take a lot of beating here. He's not in the Welsh National, so I kind of just wonder if this is a bit more of a main target. The softer ground will be really key. He's held some other entries recently, but yeah, I think that the ground at Chepstow will suit him down to a T, and I'm sure he'll be seen to good effect staying on up that finish.
Yeah, he definitely won't be lacking for stamina anyway, will he? And he was one of those that I thought he's ticking an awful lot of boxes because he's got far less doubts about his profile than a few of these in here. But yeah, even so, I'm just going with the younger legs because this race weirdly has in recent years been going to those younger horses that are unexposed rather than your proper battle-hardened type. So Major Dundee then for you, Sam. Nassalam is for both of us too as well. £3 below his last winning mark also. So hopefully he's well enough weighted to go in. Do let us know your own selections for the Welsh Grand National Trial in the comments section below. Now, before we move on to our next race, hopefully you are enjoying the show. And if you are, do remember to subscribe to the At The Races YouTube channel and also hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode as we head up to Aintree, going north now. Now, this is specifically, though, over the national fences. We have the Beecher Premier Handicap Chase for 6-year-olds and over 3 mile 2 at 205. Now, last year's winner, Ashtown Lad, he heads the betting, but Sam, who wins over the big spruces for you?
I like Ashtown Lad. I'm not sure I like the 4-1, and I know one of you two likes him, so I'll leave him alone because I actually thought Under Supervision arrives here a very interesting candidate for a trainer who absolutely loves this race. I can think of 3 winners for him in recent history. And you think about Hello Bud, he's the horse that springs to mind when I think about this race. But taking a look at Under Supervision, Sam Twiston-Davies rides. Sam actually, best jockey in this race. Won it twice, placed 3 times, great record in it. Never been over those style of fences before, but I think he's the type that could really relish it. And the yard are going great guns. I thought the run at Cheltenham when third was fine in the amateur event that he contested. And I just think he's possibly off a workable mark. And I think it's really interesting they're choosing to come here with him. And, you know, he has been patchy at times recently, but I think a different kind of task could just help focus the mind here. And from a yard that know exactly what it takes to win this race, I have no concerns. I thought 11-1, 10-1 was a really fair each-way price.
Yeah, well, we know all too well, don't we, about different tasks focusing the mind. Then for the 3 of us too, we're always needing something new. So hopefully that will happen then for Under Supervision as well, with the right man in the plate then for Sam Deck.
Are you suggesting we all need cheek pieces or blinkers or something?
Well, I wouldn't like to comment, but it would help.
Not publicly, anyway. Yeah, really interesting race. I went through it, and you know there was quite a few horses in here I thought might want further. There was another kind of couple of horses in there that I thought would want much better ground. And I just went back and I watched Ashtown Lad winning this race last year, and he really did travel to the race with a real touch of class. You know, he went to 3 out, still kind of hard on the bridle under Harry Skelton. And then I thought when he got to the front, kind of soon after the elbow, I thought he was half pricking in the ear as well. Now look, he's £2 higher. I understand that, and there are plenty of negatives around him. For a start, he comes into this race this season off a much poorer prep. Last season he did a lovely run over hurdles at Aintree, didn't he? Last time out he pulled up in the Badger rear before 3 out. But in some ways, like, is that a surprise? Because the mark, he drifted from 13 to 2 out to 14s, which suggested to me that, you know, this was the kind of a stepping stone to something bigger. You know, on Stable Tours and AtTheRaces.com, Dan Skelton has said this is going to be his first half of season target. As we all know, the Skeltons are brilliant target trainers. Well, target trainer, given Harry is the rider. Yeah, and I just thought, you know, he's £2 higher. This doesn't look a much better race than last year. So yeah, I thought, you know, I can see where Sam is suggesting potentially the price might be a little bit skinny, but if the market's cottoned onto him and the Skeltons are really happy with him going into the race, I wouldn't be surprised to me if 4-1 looked big come post time.
Yeah, because it is short enough, like say, in a race of this nature where you do still need an awful lot of luck, evidently, and the fact that he has pulled up on those 2 most recent outings. But like say, he won this race last year and he was brilliant over those fences, £2 higher this time around. So he is well weighted to be going close again. He is one of my 2 selections, but I felt like I had to go with a slightly bigger price one because, yeah, I agree with you where he was just on the skinny side at the head of the market. But yeah, so I am cheating a little bit here, but I host the show so I can do what I I want. So I'm going with 2, and Ashtown Lad is one of those for all of the aforementioned reasons. But the other one is the old boy Chambard, 11, now rising 12, of course, the winner of the 2022 Kim Muir. Now, he hasn't won a race since then. That was, of course, under Lucy Turner, who rides him again here. And he is trying these fences for the first time, but I really like him as a horse. For all that he's an older boy now, his mark has remained high enough because of his really solid efforts of late. And he ran a really good race, obviously, at his favourite track last time out at Cheltenham again. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what he makes of these fences, because we know he certainly stays. He jumps well on the hole. I know he has unseated those couple of times in his career, but he does jump well on the hole. And there is still life in the old boy still. So I'm going to have 2 on side, Chambard and Ashtown Lad then. Dex?
Yeah, I'm with Ashtown Lad, so that's me and Katie Tracy are with each other in the first 2 races this week.
Well, you're half with her because she's given herself 2 darts. This rule change is very interesting.
She presents the show. She can do what she wants.
Clearly. Under supervision's going to win anyway, so it won't matter. Kate.
So it won't matter. I have as many darts as I can have. If it's not supervision, it's not going to matter then. Right, so different ways to play and some sort of agreement then for us there over the big spruce fences in the Beecher Chase. Again, do let us know your own selections for the race in the comments section below. As we go south now, because we are heading to Sandown, the first of our trio of Grade 1 previews. And we begin with the rescheduled Fighting Fifth Hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 miles at 1:15. Now, fascinating stuff, evidently, because hopefully we're going to get to see Constitution Hill. But his stablemate Shishkin is going to have just as much intrigue and interest about him in this race as the 2-9 favourite, which is quite something. So, Deck, is it just a simple case here of Constitution Hill wins, sit back and enjoy, or what was the
Yeah,
plan?
look, Nicky, just run this horse. He is so much better than these, like so much better. It's like crazy how much better he is. He could go around here and win on the snaff and blow away the cobwebs and still go to Kempton at Christmas in a race where, again, he's just going to be so much better. Who's this maybe second favourite of that race? Is it Rebond of Paul Nicholls or something like that? Like, he's nearly the bones of 2 stone better than that horse. I hope Nicky runs him. It'll be great to see him. Although sad for us here in Sky Sports Race, we didn't get to see him at Newcastle last week. But look, I don't think anybody here needs me to tell them that Constitution Hill is a good horse. So I'm going to approach this race from in an alternative market. These markets are markets I like. They're bets I like to have. Take Constitution out of the race. And, right, I've got my hard hat on here because I'm going to put up Goshen.
Oh.
Yes.
Exactly. So if this clip does go out on the social media channels, I've got the hard hat ready. I'm ready for it. But, lads, I promise you, this is not, like, I'm sorry to say it's a Grade 1 and we want to be positive, but, you know, take out Constitution Hill, it's not a good race. Will Shishkin even jump off? Not So Sleepy is 11. The 2 mares among their own sex, I think, are brilliant. But this, you know, these are going to be comfortably the best horses they've taken on in their career. And even Love Enwa, who's a mare I love, you know, she's coming back here. This is her first run after a series cannonbone injury. Goshen as well loves Sandown. 2 for 3 here over jumps. He's even won here on the flat. And if Sandown get all that rain, you know, that's only going to play into his strengths further. And the other thing as well, it's probably worth mentioning, is going to be a stiff headwind up that straight at Sandown tomorrow, looking at the weather forecast. That could just turn it all into a slog. That could really play to him. And I thought Niall Houlihan, who rode him last time out in the Ascot Hurdle on ground that was far too quick for him, got him to travel and jump. So, yeah, roll on the rain and roll on the Goshen.
And roll on the crazy train.
Yeah,
I'm joining you on it. So, yeah, choo-choo all the way then. Because, I mean, I've sided with him.
Are you in again here?
Yes, so again.
Are you two okay?
No, I don't think so.
Did you go to that party and have a bit too much to drink last night?
She's been looking at my notes, clearly.
The holiday festivities have got to the pair of us, and we're becoming far too agreeable with our opinions as well. Because, yeah, again, we're trying to look, this is a tipping show ultimately. We're trying to look for bets and angles into races. So without markets, very interesting. Forecasts even option, because of course Constitution Hill's going to win. But Goshen to follow him home into second place as the second best horse with conditions to suit him. Now, I think that as he's getting older, he's needing his runs more so, because he obviously ran no race in the Cambridgeshire, funnily enough, when I sided with him. And he didn't go a yard at Ascot last time out, winner again, funnily enough, I sided with him. So going in again here, why not, when he's a 40-1 shot with all of these conditions in his favour. So yeah, I've probably go forecast. I was originally going to go with the without market, but Bet Victor's got loads of options for this.
Yeah, I suppose the first conversation to have is Constitution Hill. If you want to get involved, we do the length in the odds markets. You can go up, you can go down. I'll be looking at, I wouldn't be going too crazy on them because, as Dex alluded to, hopefully we see him here, but obviously Christmas is on the mind. Nico is not going to be fully extending him. He will be very eased down at the line. So I'd be playing sort of, if I had to have a distance bet, I'd be going sort of under 7, I think. I don't think it's going to be this blow-away performance that we would love to see because rightfully so, they're going to try and hopefully keep him in one piece ready for Christmas time. The market itself that I quite like the look of, and it will be available on the days, is the match betting between the two mares. I don't think the disparity in the prices we just showed, I don't think at the moment I would want to side with Love Envar at that price. She's a brilliant mare. She nearly did me a huge turn last year at the festival when she nearly broke everyone's heart by getting the better of Honeysuckle. But I just feel that You Wear It Well's race fit, comes here from a bang informed stable, and I feel like you're going to probably be getting a significantly bigger price in the match betting market. So that's kind of where my eye was drawn to. But, you know, it's interesting to have the two mares in here. They've got a bit to find, Deck, I think it's fair to say.
They've got plenty to find.
Plenty to find, but you know, You Wear It Well, she's not the oldest horse, you know, in the world. There's a bit more to come, potentially.
Who trains her?
Jamie Snowden.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Betfair.
Bet Victor,
Bet
Brandon
Victor,
Besson. Remember who sponsored the show, Dave? There we go.
Be interesting to see if that one makes it in.
Company Man is our Sam then, siding with an informed duo as well, of course, Bet Victor's ambassadors then. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how this race plays out for future targets and whether or not Constitution Hill has an easy enough time of things ahead to the Christmas hurdle. And then are we expecting him to go straight then to the champion, Deck, or would you like to see him taking the international?
I don't think Nicky's going to go to Ireland, is he? So
there's no chance he's going to get 3 in before the festival.
And they've taken away the contenders at Sandown.
Yeah, you got the race in January at Cheltenham. That's an option.
Hurdle, yeah.
But I think listen, he gets a lot of stick, doesn't he? But I can tell I had a very brief conversation with him on Monday. He wants to run the horse, but it's a real big pressure on him. You know, he wants that horse to turn up for the fans, but he feels obviously he doesn't want to give him an absolute slog. I do think the good news is, looking at the recent weather, we're filming this Friday morning. Sandown didn't get as much rain Thursday. There's plenty due during racing on Saturday, but I actually think the ground will be fine.
Well, if it comes on Saturday like that, it'll be soft ground, maybe kind of with a bit of heavy in it, but it'll be ground that they can get through.
Yeah, hopefully, like I say, it'll just loosen it up then. But yeah, the hurdle course always, of course, heavier than the chase course as well. Right, that was our look at the Fighting Fifth Hurdle. Now more Grade 1 action in the form of the Henry VIII Novices Chase for 4-year-olds and over a mile 7 at 150. Now JPR1 obviously heads the betting here, who looked impressive before and seating Brendan Powell at Cheltenham last time out. But Sam, who are you siding with?
Yeah, JPR1. Very rightfully the market leader, but I thought the difference in price between him and Colonel Harry was just too big. And you know, Colonel Harry, this has been the target. We filmed a piece of Jamie right at the start of sort of middle of summer when the horses were coming back in with Tom Skinner of all people, and you know, Tom asked him for a horse to follow. Jamie was very confident this horse would go win first time out, and then the target was going to be to go on, providing he did that to this race. And he's a really nice type. It's interesting, obviously he's a point-to-point winner, but he is not short of speed. I actually spoke to the chap that prepared him for his point-to-point and said he is a very athletic mover, he's quick, there's plenty of time for him to go up in trip, and I think this kind of trip's absolutely fine this year for him. And you know, his jumping got better and better at Chepstow in his debut over fences for Jamie. The one thing I would say is that race, perhaps you can pick holes in it. Morris definitely didn't run his race, and the second maybe could have been put into the race a little bit more. But what I would say personally is I think I would rather go in with him than take 7-4 about a horse that was very impressive but did tip up. You know, you never know. And also, I'm not sure how strong that form would have been had he stood up.
Yeah, even if he had got around, no disgrace to the field he was facing there. But we were saying even previewing the race, it wasn't the strongest of the contest by any means. So, yeah, I think he would have been an impressive winner, but beating what? Now, I know in the same sense that Colonel Harry didn't exactly beat much last time out at Chepstow himself. But even so, though, he's a horse that I've just adored for a long time. Ever since his 4th in the Tolworth, the fact that in testing conditions he travelled and he tried all the way to the line, I thought he shaped like a 2.5 miler at that stage. stage in his career. But they have pretty much tried to stick him to the minimum. And perhaps over fences, he might just be well enough suited to the 2 miles at this stage. But it's interesting what you say about him perhaps then stepping up in trip in time. But he's a horse with a great attitude, where I think people will try to take him on because of that Chepstow form and, of course, the attention that was attracted of the horses that finished behind him that day. But Colonel Harry's just a horse I want to keep on side, and I'm going to jump on the Bet Victor bandwagon then with the ambassadors as well. So, Dec, we're both with Colonel Harry.
Yeah, I like Colonel Harry as well. I just be a little bit worried for me that I think a horse rated, was he 131 or something, seemed to outpace him a bit at the top of the straight at Chepstow that day. But like, as you say, he's tremendous attitude. He'll love all that rain if it comes, won't it? And to be fair to him, I think he has taken to fences really well. But while I wanted a lot of rain for Goshen, I don't want too much rain for JPR1, who I think will take the world of beating here. I really do. There's quite a few horses in here kind of dropping in trip, so I just wanted the more emphasis on speed, the better. And, you know, and like Colonel Harry, I know he unseated last time out, but this fella's taken to fences really well. Great athleticism, great scope, and you know what I loved when he was going to win at Cheltenham last time out. I think he was 2 lengths clear, jumping the second last of Home Publique, who eventually went on to win that race. But by going to the last, he doubled that margin. So he's got gears, he's got a bit of class, and he was going to absolutely bolt up that day. The other thing I like about him is he's tactically versatile. So there could be a bit of pace in the race here if Brendan Powell wanted to sit in and just take a lead and get him covered up in the straight, especially into that stiff headwind. That's an option for him there as well. So yeah, I think JPR1, as long as the ground doesn't get absolutely brutal, I thought he would take a fair bit of beating here.
Yeah, but Chase Track seems okay, to be fair. Certainly down the back anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the Chase Track obviously much better, as it always is, than the hurdle.
It's actually one thing as well, you know, the winner of this race, you know, we kind of thinking, oh, might go out to the Arkle and maybe take on the likes of Facile Vega and Marine Nationale. Not one of these horses running here was rated above 143 as a novice hurdler, which just goes to show you, you know, they're really struggling this side of the water in this department at the moment. For all,
Thanks, Dec.
Yeah. For it all, a lot of these horses have taken to fence as well.
Yeah, and hopefully they've got more to offer, but British racing, everybody. But yeah, you've answered the question that I had as well about the potential pace burn-up on the front end, that he is tactically versatile. So JPR1 then for you. We're both with Colonel Harry. Again, do let us know your own selections for the race in the comments section below as we move on to our final scheduled race in this section, our final Grade 1, the Tingle Creek Chase for the 4-year-olds and over a mile 7 at 3 o'clock, where John Bon is another red-hot favourite for the Nicky Henderson team, and he thumped the reopposing Edwardstone last time out. So, Sam, firstly, does John Bon win as the market expects here? Or again, how are you playing it?
Yeah, from a betting perspective, I'm probably going to have a tentative guess at how far John Bon wins by, because I actually think that's listen, it's a fair price, isn't it? He was really, really good at Cheltenham, like really good, and I was really pleased to see that from him, because I almost felt like we were a bit disappointed, weren't we? Let's be honest with what happened at the end of the season in terms of at Cheltenham with him. We want him to contend, and I think he can. I think he's got a great attitude, and you know he's just a really nice horse, isn't he? You know, and I think it'll be really fun to see how he gets on here. I'd be really disappointed if he's not an emphatic winner. It's a shame Captain Guinness isn't here, but I don't think he would have changed much about the market, if we're being completely honest. And you know, they've got other targets in Ireland, and it makes sense. Edwardstone, for me, I want to see him up in trip now. I think I'm wrong on him, and Alan King was very right that he wants to go further with him. Obviously, I think a lot depends. He was in potentially the Peterborough Chase, but we'll see where he ends up. But yeah, for me, it's just a case of John Bon 5 or more, I'd say, Dec.
Yeah, look, again, I'm going to play this race. I'm going to take the favourite out of the equation. I'm going to back Edwardstone without John Bon market. Do appreciate what you're saying, that he kind of maybe now looks like a horse who wants to go up in trip. But again, if Sandown get all that rain into that stiff headwind on the day, and you know, with Hadex des Obeaux and John Bon in there, we should get at least a fairly run race, hopefully even strongly run, because he's a horse who's always thrived off a strong place, because he travels and he jumps well. Look, I thought he probably shaped a little bit better than the distance beaten behind John Bon at Cheltenham. I think he was 6 lengths down jumping the last, and he was beaten 9.5. But the other side of that coin is obviously John Bon had the 2 big lugs up looking around. It it suggested there was plenty more in the locker there. But I think Sandown is more of a home game for Edwardstone. I've always felt he's a better horse going right-handed. He's always just kind of jumped and maybe adjusted that little way. Look, I know he's won in Arkle left-handed at Cheltenham, and he's won other races, but this is a home game for him, and if he's improved from that run back, I think he could maybe close the distance on John Bon. I have absolutely no interest in backing John Bon at 3-10, so I think if you take him out of the equation, you'll get odds against Edwardstone without him, and that's the way I'll be playing this race.
Again, without markets at our disposal, and that's again the way that I'll be playing this too, because I don't think John Bon's going to be beaten, so I'm not going to go each way because I'll be throwing away the win pass in my bet, so I may as well just side in the without market, and that is with Hadex the Zobo, who's just this typical horse from the Gary Moore yard where we see time and time again these handicappers that work up into being graded 2-mile chasers. Of course, Syed Agruji, he started out life in handicap hurdles, worked out to being a grade 1 winning 2-mile chaser, and Editor Dujit, who again was a handicapper but over fences and went on himself to win a Clarence House chase. So Hadex the Zobo, for all that he's still got enough to find, this is the yard to be with, to be working out, to becoming a handicapper up over fences there. Now, he is one, of course, that fell last time out at Cheltenham. He was perhaps unlucky there, but if he gets into a rhythm on the front end, doesn't get into a war with John Bon, I can still see him doing next best of the rest, and I thought he would take a fair bit of pegging back. But of course, it's going to be fascinating, though, when we see El Fabiolo going in the hilly way at Cork on Sunday, potentially, or probably more likely, John Bon's biggest rival then come the champion chase. So we're going to have loads of clues this weekend, but I'm going to go without market, Hadex the Zobo. Deck.
I'm also in the without market, but with Edwardstone.
And Sam?
I'm going to go John Bon by 5 or more.
Oh, OK, then playing the lengthen your odds at markets. Right, different ways to play what seemingly looks like a pretty much a penalty kick for John Bon. Right, that's everything from us in this part of the show. Now we're going to head over to the Sky Pad to give you our best bets for the weekend. Now, of course, there is so much racing on this weekend and plenty to go at then for our best bets. So, Deck, take it away.
Yes, we'll try and keep it short and sweet this week because we've already discussed the Nap and the next best. The Nap is going to be JPR1 in the Henry VIII at Sandown tomorrow. Hoping it doesn't get too heavy there because I think he's a horse with plenty of gears and pace, taking on some horses that kind of might stay better down the line. And he's tactically versatile as well. So hopefully the Tizard team and Brendan Powell can have a grade 1 winner tomorrow. Edwardstone without John Bon, I think, is another good bet as well. We already discussed that there just a moment ago. So we will move on quickly to the long shot, which is, again, Katie Tracy's been reading my notes. Champard in the Beecher, I think, will go well. He's probably a little bit kind of getting on in years in terms of winning competitive handicaps like this, but he is a Cheltenham Festival winner, and I loved his comeback at Cheltenham last time out with the Venetia Williams team in good order. He just looks like he's returned a happy horse. He jumped and travelled, and he's going to stay as well there. So yes, those are going to be the 3 losers this week.
A fair amount of agreement for the pair of us two.
There is, isn't there?
I know, we're either going to be delighted over Christmas or we're going to be very, very sorry, Deck and I. So yeah, we're agreeing in a lot of ways, but Sam, your own best bets?
Yeah, let's get stuck in then. Right, the Nap. We're going to go to Aintree because one of my favourite horses is running. Zambello, she won this race 2 years ago. She doesn't tend to go too well fresh, which is the negative. The positive is Aintree's got loads of rain, and compared to the market rival in the race who's going to hate the soft ground, she's going to love it. Nigel Tristan-Davis in absolutely great form. Daryl Jacobs, I think, will have another winner up at Aintree there. Colonel Harry, we've touched on. I think over those railway fences, JPR is going to be seeing the backside of Colonel Harry. Sorry, Deck, your Nap's getting chinned. And then my long shot, Red Rookie. I can't seem to get away from Emma Lavelle's horse, who was disappointing at Ascot over fences last time out. They've reverted back to hurdles here, where it's quite unexposed as a hurdler, and I think it's just quite an intriguing move. The wetter, the better for his chances. 16-1 at time of recording.
16-1 as well. Nicely done. Right. I have gone a bit of a different approach for my own Nap because I tend to take the Nap as my most likely winner, regardless then of sort of how short a price I can be siding with. But I've gone for the best bet at the prices for my Nap this time round, and that comes in the 130 at Aintree, a 0-145 handicap chase, and that is Donna's Double, who I'm hoping I'll be getting around 10-1 then, of course, price still to be decided then by the Bet Victor traders. But, of course, trained by Sandy Thompson, who are really just starting to come good again now. So I'd expect Donna's double to do likewise, despite still running well on a seasonal debut. Third at air, just beaten a neck after his stride just started to tie up. So he looked to need it. Not for the £2 higher mark. I think that could have been much worse for him. And he gets the first time tongue tie, which may just eke out that bit more. Now, Chambard's next best bet, 16-1. So I'm glad that Declan and I are both agreeing here. Hopefully, plenty more life in Chambard, as I said earlier on, and a very classy handicapper on his day. Now, a horse that's probably not going to run in the race that I've put him up for, but it is Cyclops. Hopefully, he will go to the 3:35 at Sandown, the London National, and not to the Welsh Grand National Trial. Now, admittedly, the Chepstow contest is his first preference, but that race tends to go to younger legs nowadays, rather than the London National tends to go to older horses. And he's a horse where he stays, he's got a great attitude, he's tiny, but he jumps so beautifully, and everything should just be right up his street should he go to Sandown. So probably won't even run, but I put him up there anyway if Cyclops does take up that engagement. Right, that's everything from us on this week's show. A big thank you to Dec and Sam for all of their hard work as per usual. A big thank you to you at home for watching. Remember, you can watch all of Chepstow's action live on Sky Sports Racing. We'll be back at the same time again next week to preview Cheltenham.